Hey.
How did you sleep?
Alright. I'm just glad we're no longer on that horrific flight.
I know. Sorry, I'm poor. Whenever I pass the bar at the end of the month, it's nothing but first class for us. No more sitting with the bottom feeders.
It better be, because if not, I'll leave your ass whenever you go bald.
Then you better keep your shit tight and not get gankles.
Hey, too far. You know I'm sensitive.
Hey, you knew what you're getting yourself into whenever you said yes.
I know. But you could at least try not to be an asshole before noon.
You're the one who came at me strong first.
Oh, don't be a bitch. Now give me a kiss. I have to get ready.
Just don't take forever. I'd actually like to do some sightseeing before it gets dark.
Oh, you knew what you were getting into whenever you said yes.
Oh, clever girl. Kelsey got out of bed and walked to the bathroom to get ready. I stayed, thinking about how good life has been. I just graduated and received my JD, and about to take the bar exam at the end of the month. Law school was a pain in the ass, but I had Kelsey with me the whole time. We met the first week of college during student orientation. I didn't want to go because I really don't care about stupid shit like that, but my parents insisted since I was new to the area. So I reluctantly went. It sucked. Until a girl tapped me on the shoulder, asking if I knew where the food hall was. It was Kelsey. I remember she caught me off guard, because I wasn't expecting anyone to talk to me, let alone a girl as attractive as her. She had long blonde hair, blue eyes, tall but not freakishly tall, a slender build, and damn near perfect facial features. She was an LA9. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I told her I'd walk her to the food hall. I do remember thinking that she probably had some beefed up douchebag boyfriend, or that she was going to be one of those sorority types, partying all the time, having drunken, mediocre sex with frat guys. Our school has a pretty intense Greek life. I figured I didn't stand a chance. We reached the food hall, and I was expecting to part ways, but I was caught off guard again when she asked if I wanted to join her for lunch. I know I wasn't hungry, but when an LA9 asks you to lunch, you take it every time. We ate together and didn't bother finishing the orientation. We were so enthralled with each other. Nothing else mattered. My only goal that day was to keep her laughing because I loved the dimples on her cheeks whenever she smiled. I totally misread her. She was actually quite witty and had a darker sense of humor than me. Anytime I said anything off color, she would take it further. After that day, we were inseparable. Even though her major was business and mine was law, we always ended up in each other's arms at the end of the night. All of our friends knew that you couldn't have one without the other. I know that sounds gross, and sometimes I hate how mushy we get, but I can't help it. It's chemical between us. I can be completely myself and vulnerable around her. It's like life didn't start until I met Kelsey. Last semester, after we both graduated, I popped the question. We were on a hike, and when we reached the top of the hill, I proposed. It was nothing extravagant. Even though I knew she would say yes, I was still scared. I guess that's why I asked when we were all alone, just in case she said no. I kinda wish there was someone there to take pictures, because I've never seen Kelsey get so emotional. She was crying, laughing, and almost seemed to hyperventilate. It would be funny to have that photo and tease her about how much she loves me. But now, I'm glad that no one else was there, because that moment was ours. Shortly after the proposal, we found out that Kelsey was pregnant. Not that I wasn't happy or didn't want kids. I just wanted to be married for a couple of years before starting a family. But I know Kelsey will make a great mom, and believe it or not, having kids really makes you prioritize your life. Or at least should. I began to study my ass off for the bar exam. After receiving my JD, I felt pretty confident, but now I had more of a purpose to pass the bar and start my career. The exam is at the end of February. During this time, I know Kelsey felt neglected because all my time and energy went to graduating, and I felt bad because I was doing all this for us. So, in secret, I began to save money for a vacation. And to my surprise, there was a Valentine resort package to the Philippines, a non-stop flight, round trip from LAX to Manila. And the price range was well within my budget. And Kelsey always bitches that I could be more romantic.
Hey, Stinky, get in here.
Yes, ma'am. After we got ready, we made plans to visit the National Museum of Fine Arts in Riesel Park. Kelsey loves museums and learning about cultures. By her looks, people wouldn't know it, but she's a huge history snob. Honestly, I think she just likes posting pictures of herself at historical places for her Instagram. I'm glad that Riesel Park and the museum are right next to each other, because one thing I wasn't prepared for was how insanely chaotic Manila traffic is. I swear we almost died 3 times on the way to the museum. I usually don't care about museums, but this one wasn't bad. My favorite painting was called the Spoliarium. It's fucking huge. The painting's like 13 by 25 feet and shows dead, bloody gladiators being dragged in a Roman arena. Pretty brutal shit. Despite that, nothing really caught my interest except this spiral staircase within the museum. Kelsey had me take like 1,000 photos of her along the staircase. By this point, I become her personal photographer. Her Instagram wouldn't be so great if it wasn't for me, and she doesn't even credit me half the time. Bitch. I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it though. I love seeing her happy and she looks beautiful at all angles. But since I've become her personal photographer, a simple coffee date could turn into hours of trying to get the right latte photo. It's one of her flaws, but it's one I could live with. Eventually, we made our way to Riesel Park. And it's a nice spot, but there was no way in hell we were going to be able to walk the entire park. It's over 100 acres. Instead, Kelsey just wanted to take a scenic picture in front of the Jose Riesel Monument, who's a pretty big deal in the Philippines. Because Kelsey's favorite mantra is, if there's no pictures, it didn't happen. We both started to get hungry and decided to try the local food. Didn't disappoint. Definitely hit the spot after all the walking we did today. I noticed Kelsey's appetite was getting bigger. Even though she didn't physically look pregnant yet, I could already sense a change. I knew she was excited about being a mother, just as much as I was about being a father. I couldn't help but stare as I watched her eat.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Oh, sorry, I was thinking.
I know. Whenever you make that stupid face, I know you're thinking.
Oh, shut up.
What are you thinking about?
Just about life and how I have to get my shit together.
Good, because I'm eating for 2 now, so we may need to get appetizers.
Fat ass. So, I was thinking, go back to the resort, chill by the pool, call it a night, get some room service, order dinner, and then do photo shoots tomorrow for Valentine's?
Sounds good. It's one of the last times I'll look good in a bikini. I'm gonna get so fat soon, and it's all because of you.
You could have given me a blowjob instead that night.
Oh, fuck off. But I'm serious. Are you still gonna love me even when I'm a fat monster?
Maybe. We will have to see how big you get.
Ugh, could you not be you right now? I don't know what this is, but I can already tell this baby, your baby, is making me emotional.
Kelsey, you know I love you. You're the soon-to-be mother of my child, and that alone makes you the most beautiful woman in the world.
Thank you. I just need you to say I'm pretty sometimes.
I think I can manage that.
I love you.
Don't make it gay.
Ugh, you're the worst.
I know. You ready to go? I'm pretty tired from being your personal photographer.
Oh, you love it. And yeah, let's head back.
Good. I can't wait to see you in a bikini.
I look better without one.
I think we should shower again before the pool.
I think so too.
After we showered, Kelsey and I started to walk to the pool. We already went at it like twice today, but I could probably go a few more times. I couldn't get over how incredibly sexy she looks right now. This sounds fucked up, but I know after the pregnancy, she might not be the same. Nonetheless, I had a huge craving for Kelsey, and I was going to have my fill. By the time we got to the pool, the sun was starting to set. The weather was cool enough to get into the pool, but Kelsey was always a fan of hot tubs. It could be the hottest day of summer, and she would still prefer the hot tub. It was one of her quirks that I loved and made her my Kelsey. The sunset was setting the mood for another romantic evening, as Kelsey and I sat with our legs in the hot tub. We were so enveloped with each other's company that we almost didn't notice the woman who approached us. She was extremely attractive. She looked a little older. It was evident that she took care of herself, and she had a unique look. She looked like she was a mix between Filipino and Eastern European. She had piercing hazel eyes, about the same build as Kelsey, tall and slender, just more bust in areas, light complexion and dirty blonde hair. She also dressed like she was going to a gala. She was wearing an elegant black dress with what appeared to be an expensive necklace. It draped down her chest, practically showcasing her cleavage. This attractive lady was holding a leash in her right hand. There was a very timid beagle at the end of the leash. The woman got closer to the hot tub, averting her attention to us. Kelsey looked annoyed. In order to break the tension, I spoke up. "Can we help you?"
I'm so sorry. Where are my manners? My name is Claire. And you two?
Before I could respond, Kelsey grabbed my arm tightly and responded coldly.
My name is Kelsey, and this is my fiancé.
Newlyweds. How perfect. Sorry, I didn't mean to spoil your good time. I was just hoping you two could help me out. My husband and I are staying on the 4th floor of the resort and booked dinner reservations. The only problem is that the restaurant doesn't allow dogs. We wouldn't have a problem leaving our little Marty in our room, but she suffers from extreme separation anxiety, and we would hate knowing that she would be a bother to the other guests. Would you mind watching her while my husband and I have dinner?
Kelsey loosened her grip on my arm.
Of course. Marty's her name?
Kelsey got out of the pool and embraced the beagle.
Oh, splendid. Yes, Marty is her name.
Marty was hesitant to accept Kelsey. She retreated and made herself small.
Oh, Marty, don't worry. I won't hurt you.
Marty takes a while to open up, but I promise, she's a sweetheart. I know this favor is a lot to ask. Let me pay you for your troubles.
No need. Marty's company is more than enough.
Please, I would feel horrible if I didn't at least pay.
It's no trouble at all, really.
Thank you so much. It's my and Charles' 20th anniversary.
Claire gave the leash to Kelsey and then gave her a hug. As she held Kelsey, Claire did something rather odd. She took a deep breath, almost as if she was sniffing Kelsey, and then gave a devilish smile.
You shouldn't be in a hot tub when you're expecting.
How did you know?
Don't worry, dear. You still look lovely in a bikini. It's just a woman's intuition. Me and Charles have 2 kids of our own. Life is full and delicious whenever you have children. Oh no, I'm going to be late. Thank you for watching Marty for me. What room are you in? I'll come by and get her after dinner.
It's 3:12.
Thank you, dear. Dinner shouldn't take long. Enjoy your evening.
Claire gave a flirtatious grin and started walking towards the front doors and disappeared into the night. It was silent for a moment.
You were checking her out, weren't you?
I knew I had to choose my next words carefully. Of course Claire was very attractive, but the way Kelsey has been acting lately, I could tell the pregnancy was eating at her insecurities. If old bitches are your thing.
It's okay to say she's attractive.
Kelsey, I love you. I am not into Claire. I could tell that answer didn't satisfy her. Guess I have to spice things up a bit. I got out of the hot tub and caressed her ass. Then I pulled her face close to mine and ran my hand through her hair. She loves when I do that. I could tell Kelsey was getting turned on.
Whoa, 3 times in one day?
It would be 4, but you took forever at the museum photo shoot.
You know this already. If there's no pictures, it didn't happen.
Yeah, but you don't need 1,000 pictures.
Well, then be a better photographer.
I smiled. There's that confident Kelsey I love so much. I was really starting to get aroused now. We walked to the elevators with Marty. The dog started to warm up to us, almost too much. She was glued to Kelsey's side. She seemed to be more affectionate now that Claire was gone, which I thought was weird because shouldn't a dog be more scared around strangers and not the owner?
Aw, we should get a dog.
I think a baby will be more than enough.
Yes, I realize that, but just look at her.
Yes, she's cute, but I think our baby will be cuter. That's if it gets your looks and my brains.
Well, what if it's the other way around?
Well, then our baby's fucked. Kelsey smiled and then gave me a kiss.
I love you.
I know, and I'm gonna love you even more whenever we get back to the room. Kelsey and I were all over each other. We almost didn't make it to the room. If Marty wasn't next to us, begging for attention, we probably wouldn't have. Once inside, I made love to Kelsey like never before. She felt like home, and I never want to live another day without her. I think the third time really got to Kelsey. Once we finished, she almost passed out instantly. It was a perfect day. But even on my shitty days, having Kelsey around made them bearable. I admired Kelsey as she slept. I couldn't help but smile. She began to snore lightly. Kelsey is the only person I know that can make snoring cute. When she snored like that, it meant that nothing would be able to wake her. We could get robbed and she'd still be sound asleep. I gave Kelsey a kiss on her forehead. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. Who the hell is that? I heard a dog began to whimper. Oh shit, that's right, Marty. She was so quiet that I forgot about her. I got her leash and hooked it to her collar. Time to go, little shit. As I began to walk to the front door, I could feel some pullback from Marty. She looked scared as hell. What's wrong with you? It's time to go. She was being so difficult that I picked her up instead of dragging her and walked towards the front door. The closer I got to the door, the louder she began to whimper. Then I felt something warm run down my chest. Are you fucking serious? Marty pissed on me. Great. What's wrong with this dog? I heard another knock at the door. Coming! Before I opened the door, I quickly grabbed a paper towel from the kitchen. You little shit. I opened the door, and there was Claire, still wearing her sexy black dress. I almost forgot how beautiful she was.
Hello, how was Marty? I hope she wasn't trouble.
Oh, not at all. She was quiet the whole time. I forgot she was around.
Oh, that's good. Did she have an accident?
I could see that Claire noticed the piss-soaked paper towels in my hand. Oh yeah, but no worries.
I'm sorry about that. She's house-trained. I don't know why she would do that.
It's alright. Before I could put Marty down, I noticed that she was shaking terribly and didn't want to leave my arms. What the fuck is wrong with this dog? I eventually got her down and gave Claire the leash. Have a good night. I hope dinner was good with Charles. I gave a fake smile and began to close the door. Claire stopped me.
I'm sorry. I know I've been asking a lot of favors tonight, but could I use the little lady's room?
I was annoyed, but it was late and I just wanted Claire and her dumbass dog gone. Sure.
Thank you.
Claire entered, dragging Marty along the way. It's like she couldn't stand being around Claire. Claire walked into the middle of the room and stopped abruptly. She let go of the leash and Marty bolted under the sofa whimpering. Claire stood like a statue. It was very unnerving and unnatural. Claire, the bathroom is to your right. She stood still, not making a sound. I got closer to check on her. Man, I hope she's not having a stroke. I approached her slowly. I didn't want to startle her. She began to change. Her porcelain skin modified into a gray, rough texture. I could hear bones cracking and organs twisting. Huge bat-like wings sprouted from her back. Her luscious hair transformed into thick, coarse black fur. Her face was no longer beautiful. She looked like a damn bat or demon. Her hands were the last part of her to change. They grew twice in size, and her fingernails were like black jagged knives. She used those serrated fingernails on herself. She cut a perfect line across her stomach. She separated herself from the lower part of her body. Blood, guts, and entrails were dangling from her torso. The transition happened so fast that I barely had time to react. The fucking creature transfixed its gaze on me. Kelsey! I couldn't finish yelling. That damn monster lunged at me and grabbed my throat. It was incredibly fast. The creature began to flap its incredible wings. It lifted me up with one hand. We were airborne in the middle of the room. I clung to its forearm, trying my best to breathe. The creature opened its foul mouth, and a long, disgusting, elongated, proboscis-like tongue came out. It seemed to have a mind of its own, the way it danced closer to my face. I thrashed violently in desperation, but my attempts were useless. The tongue made its way to my mouth and began to slither down my throat. I could barely breathe out of my nose. No. The tongue seemed to be infinite in length. It only went further down until I could feel in the pit of my stomach. I could feel the monster begin to suck and drain the blood from my body. I had never felt so violated, disgusted, and used before in my life. I could feel myself get lightheaded and weak. Just when I thought I was gonna pass out, the monster stopped draining my blood, and its tongue retreated out of my body. The monster dropped me to the floor, face first. I lifted my head from the floor. I knew my nose was broken. More blood flushed from my nose. The monster flew over to the bedroom. No, not Kelsey. Do what you want to me, but leave Kelsey alone. As the monster disappeared into the room, I tried my best to stand, to fight, to do fucking something, but my body wasn't responding. All I could do was crawl like a goddamn toddler. Soaked in blood, I crawled slowly to the room. Just breathing was a pain in the ass and made me lightheaded. I finally reached the door. That fucking creature hovered over Kelsey, its arms around her neck and tongue in her mouth, its bloody entrails soaking the bed in blood. Kelsey was flailing wildly. Kelsey, no! With my last breath, I attempted to yell out. I felt my body shut down. Everything faded to black. I woke up in a panic in a hospital. My concern wasn't for myself, but for Kelsey. The doctors assured me that she was okay, but I wasn't gonna settle for words. I needed to see her for myself. After a lot of arguing, I was finally able to see her. She was asleep and hooked to an IV. It wasn't until I got back to my bed that I got the worst news of my life. The baby. Kelsey had a miscarriage. That fucking monster took our baby, drained its life. I broke down in tears. My physical pain was nothing compared to the pain of losing my child, our child. I felt like a buzz hit my chest and I got nauseous. I would never wish this pain on anyone else. Later, the doctors told me that I was extremely dehydrated, and that's why I passed out. Because besides a huge loss of blood, all my vitals and organs were normal. I never wanted to scream so loud before. What was I supposed to say? That a fucking woman turned into a monster, cut herself in half, and drained us with its disgusting tongue? It's so hard having to keep a secret knowing that no one will believe you. It's like living with a boulder on your shoulders. You carry the weight of that secret forever. I knew exactly when Kelsey got the news of her miscarriage, because her cries filled the hospital like a violent storm. I rushed into her room and held her tightly. We cried together. That Valentine's Day, we spent the entire day in the hospital. When we were released, Kelsey wasn't the same. She was distant, quiet. I didn't pry or try to talk. I figured Kelsey wasn't ready. On the flight back home, it was like sitting next to a stranger. She rejected me anytime I tried to touch her. My touch was no longer comforting. The creature did more than just drain us and take our baby. It drained Kelsey of her ambition, happiness, confidence. Everything I loved about Kelsey was now gone. When we landed home, everything fell apart quick. Kelsey had her demons, but I had mine too. The nightmare started, and I could no longer sleep. I could no longer focus on anything. I failed the bar exam. All that time, energy, and money for nothing. I fell into a deep depression. Kelsey did too. We no longer could depend on each other. Every attempt I made to comfort her, my touch alone would make her shudder. That's what hurt the most. The woman who I wanted to spend the rest of my life with now couldn't stand my touch. The only times we did communicate was when we would yell and fight. It got so bad that our neighbors called in noise complaints. Eventually, the fighting stopped and was replaced by silence. We became numb to each other. I began to sleep on the couch. Days, sometimes weeks would go by before we would say anything to each other. She never told me, but I feel the reason she resented me was because I wasn't strong enough for her. Being around me was a reminder that we lost a child together. Every time she looked at my face, she didn't see the man she fell in love with. She instead saw the monster that took away her baby. The lease went up. We both moved out, not saying a word to each other. She moved back home, and I moved in with my parents. I haven't seen or talked to her since. The woman that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with can't even tolerate looking at my face. I got a job as a night stalker at a local grocery store. It was the only job I could manage. I clocked in, stocked the shelves, and clocked out in the morning, leaving without saying a word. The nightmare still continued. The little money I did make went towards alcohol and a gun. I contemplate using it as the days get closer to Valentine's, the day I lost everything. I wish couples would experience what I went through, not because I want them to suffer. I just want people to understand. Kelsey used to keep me warm at night. Now the only warmth I feel is at the bottom of a bottle. Becoming numb and forgetting is just a small benefit. Maybe I'll end the suffering soon.